Alright, so today we're going to be doing the front wheel bearings and front wheel seals. We got our grease gun all loaded up. I probably should have showed doing that, but I didn't. We got our repair manual, and I got all the stuff. I just completed the inspection. I think everything's good. So we're going to go ahead and start to loosen the wheels. We'll jack it up, shock the rear wheels, e-brakes on as well. Move the front wheels and start going at it. Note that I used the stopping pins for both of these to hold them both in place, and I made sure that they're out the same amount. So I came up 4 clicks, 4 notches, and then locked them into place with these cotter pins. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and place the jack stands. For now, let's take off them wheels. Okay, step 1, wheel off. All right, so as always, you should always be referencing your factory service manual or repair manual. So the very first thing we're gonna be doing is removing our brake caliper. We can see the 2 bolts we're gonna be removing right here and back here. I don't know if you can actually see, I lied, maybe you can't see them. Back here and back here. So we're gonna start in the bottom one because it'll be a little bit easier not to. Hey, look at that. Not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So, I'll just keep knocking it out here like that. There we go. We got a good gap across the whole thing now. Hey, look at that. Came right off. Alright, so now we got to remove this cotter pin with progressive pliers. Okay, let's see if we got it straightened out enough. Hey, look at that. Cotter pin out. That nut was very, very loose. It's not supposed to be. The thing I'm going to do is right here there's a spot. And right here, so there's a spot on each side that is, there's no lip there holding it in. So I'm gonna flip it over and hammer it out with a flathead. So right here we can see the back of that race, and it's the same on the other side as well. So we're gonna just stick something in there and hammer it straight down and see if we can get it out. For this kind of thing, you'd normally use a dead blow hammer. I've never actually bought a dead blow hammer, so I just use a rubber mallet. It seems very tired, if I'm being honest. I guess let's just keep going with it, huh? Let's just get the sucker off there. I need to use a grinder or something, I guess. I don't like doing that, but we might have to. Hey, we're getting the spin. Look at that. Well, I had it all apart. I actually decided to grease the ball joint as well. Got a little bit drippy coming out from overpressure, but it's all good. Okay, so we've officially disassembled the whole thing. We finally got the inner race off. There was no oil seal or seal, so that's interesting. So now we're going to put it back together the right way and get this thing back on. All right, so the first thing we got to do is actually pack the bearings themselves with some machine grease. So we're gonna go ahead and do that here next. It's actually a pretty messy process, but a fun one. So we're gonna go ahead and just get a bunch of grease in our hand. It's a good start. Okay, so we got our grease. You get your bearing, and this is my very first time doing this. And we're literally just gonna pack it. We're gonna pack the grease in there. And it should be completely filled to the brim with grease. There should be no spot on this that isn't covered in grease. That should be just smashed in there. Pretty good. I'm sure you guys will tell me if it's not. Bearing number 2, this is the outer bearing. Gonna get it coated. I'm really trying to smash it through the insides there. Not the center, but the inside of the bearing here. I really want to just pack it in there, right? I feel like the more the better, huh? So what we need to do is get this in here, but we got to do it nicely. So we're going to use this and this to get that job done. Go like this. And drop it on there. Comes a little screw, or a nut, rather, or a bolt. I can speak. And then I'm just gonna drop her in there, and we're gonna use the mallet to hammer it in. Does not seem to be going the way I'm hoping. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop, figure out why. You know what? I'm gonna see if we can use the press, so let's see what happens. All right, I've got everything all set up for the jack. Now we're gonna go ahead and, or the press, which is literally just a jack. Make sure the bleeder valve is tight. And we start going. I wanna kinda go slow, make sure everything's all lined up nicely. When I say go slow, like I don't really have a choice. This thing is not the fastest here. All right, we've got contact. There we go. It's seating in nicely. I think we're going to know right when it's fully seated. I think it's there. I'll press a little bit more than I need to. Hold it for a sec. Well, there we go. Excuse you. This step was unnecessary. You don't need to have a hydraulic jack at home to make this happen. You just made it a lot easier. And we got that baby seated all the way in there. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to go get the inner, and I'm going to get the matching inner tool, and then we'll press the inner bearing in, or the inner race rather. There we go. There we go. And it's in. So I'm going to go ahead and back off. There we go. We got our new race on both sides. We actually get to coat the inside of this thing with just a bunch of grease. This is going to be messy, right? Like you can't have too much. Make sure it's all nice and even in here. Getting a nice solid layer of grease all the way through here. All right, so we're getting close here. So we're looking at the inner bearing. What we're going to do is actually place the inner bearing inside of this here. We're going to go ahead and place that. And then we're actually going to get ready to put the seal in. But before we do that, we actually just need to coat it and a good layer of grease. Let's see if we can get that in there. Not bad. 2 strikes. All right. We're doing good work. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is reverse the whole process. So now we're going to reinstall the dust shield, which also is the caliper bracket. Or sorry, I guess it's not the bracket, but it's the mounting point for the caliper. Wheel hub is on. Now we need to throw the bearing in. There we go. The bearing in. So I've done it too tight. I can't move the wheel. Gotta come back. Gotta loosen it up again. We can move the wheel again. So I'm gonna tighten it back up again. All right, we are looking at the last things we gotta do here for the right-hand side of the car. I have packed the inside of this with grease, according to the manual, and I'm putting the castle, whatever that is, on top here. And we're going to go ahead and lock it in with a cotter pin. So I'm going to go grab a cotter pin and we'll do that. Alright, I just have a thing of random cotter pins, and these ones are pretty much the exact same size actually. So I'm going to go ahead and use this new one here. Same size actually, so I'm going to go ahead and use this new one here. I'm going to adjust you up here. There you go. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if I like it. But it is what it is. There she is. I'm gonna go ahead and tap this guy on there. Oops, sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and unlock this from where I had it kind of hung there. There we go. And then I'm going to, I'll actually do that right afterwards. I'm looking at the other one to see how it goes together. Okay, it's on the outside. I made a mistake. I put the entire dust shield on wrong. I didn't even realize you could put it on wrong, which is why I didn't. I literally put zero thought into it. Oh, this sucks. Gotta undo the whole process. Especially on the older cars, a lot of newer things, they designed them to have notches or something that allow it to only go on in one specific way. Older things, they're not designed like that. They didn't take user consideration when designing things. It was if you knew, you knew. If you didn't, bring it to somebody who does know. And I'm not one of those people. Would you look at that? To the German level of tightness, the good and tight. Alright, before I put the bolt on, I'm going to go ahead and look up what that thrust bearing is supposed to look like. So, see you guys in a second. Okay, had to run to the hardware store. Ended up grabbing 2 sets of washers. One that are 7/8 and another one that has a hole that is 9/16. And the 9/16 fits perfectly. Now look at that. It's perfect. So I did the setting the way you're supposed to. I tightened it down until you can move it with about a pound and a half of pressure. I really don't know how to measure a pound and a half of pressure. I don't have that tool that you would need to actually measure it, but I can move it with one finger. I feel like that's pretty good. What do you think? All of that work, spent the whole day doing it. Although I wasn't going really fast, and honestly recording adds so much time. Trying to get good angles and whatnot. And there we go. They're too safety for me, so if I do get crushed, at least I'm only crushed as much as the wheel can get crushed. We're going to keep the calipers off, dust cap off, wheel hub off, and then we'll start it up. It's going like this, kind of finding a place where it will get stuck, right? Like, but we do not want to hang it. We do not want to hang it from its brake line, which adds up. On top of the nut. Oh yeah, that thing was, look at this, it's spinning on its own. Okay. There it goes. I decided not to bore you with anything. I'm putting it back together now. Pressed the races in, greased and packed the bearings, greased the inside of the wheel hub, mounted it back up. I did grease the ball joint on this side as well, and now we're getting to a point where we're going to do the front bearing and then tighten it all up actually. Okay. This is what a Toyota thrust washer is, what they call it. Realistically, this is actually just a spindle. I think they call it a spindle lock washer, but Toyota calls it something different because they want to be special. Okay. Got our washer, or sorry, our nut. I'm trying to put it on backwards. This gets interesting because, again, we're supposed to tighten this thing. And you saw how much it was moving before. So now it's moving, it's a little bit harder. So I loosen it up. I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't. If somebody out there knows how to do this properly, please let me know, because I would be glad to jack it up and pull off the bearing, the caps again, just to do this. It's not that hard, right? And the cost is 2 penny cotter pins. So if you know how to do this properly, please let me know. I'm going over tighter than what I would think by a little bit, just to be safe. I'd rather not have my wheel fall off and have too much resistance than have my, then be like, oh my gosh, I've unlocked like 4 more horsepower, and then my wheel falls off. See. All right, so my last bit, apparently I didn't hit record because I'm just a big old dummy. So I'm not exactly sure where I left off, because I've been turning the camera on and off to try and like separate out sections, and I'm just not sure which section. So I've actually remounted the wheel. I'm going to lower the car now Well, actually, I'm going to jack up the car and then lower the car after taking the jack stands out. Not all the way though, because then we'll have to tighten down the wheels. So apparently my phone just decided to stop recording. I think it's because it slides down and hits this. Hits the power button on the side every once in a while on this cheap little, I think it was like a $4 thing on Amazon. But so here's what we got. We put both wheels on. They're looking fantastic. The car is rolling back and forth with zero noise, zero issue. It takes almost no power to move it, which is great because it's only an 800-pound car, and it shouldn't take a whole lot to move it. And it's working really well. So I'm about to pull the Supra out, get the Corolla out, get the Supra back in here. But I gotta clean first. Look at all these tools that are nasty as fuck with grease. So I'm gonna clean these tools up, swap the cars, and then maybe go for a ride in the Corolla.